Looking for a guaranteed way to create content that resonates with your audience? Start a podcast. Interview your ideal clients and let them choose the topic of the interview. Because if your ideal clients care about the topic, there's a good chance the rest of your audience will care about it too. Learn more at sweetfishmedia.com.
You're listening to the B2B Growth Show, a podcast dedicated to helping B2B executives achieve explosive growth. Whether you're looking for techniques and strategies or tools and resources, you've come to the right place. I'm Jonathan Green.
And I'm James Carberry.
Let's get into the show.
Welcome back to the B2B Growth Show. We are here today with Mike Shelah. He is the founder at Mike Shelah Consulting. Mike, how are you doing today?
James, I am wonderful. Thank you for having me on.
I'm excited to chat with you today. Mike, we're going to be talking about LinkedIn, which is something I've been spending a ton of my time on the last few months, really figuring out the content creation game on LinkedIn and have seen some tremendous results. But before we jump into that, Mike, I'd love for you to tell us a little bit about the work you do on a daily basis.
Sure. Mike Shelah Consulting was founded around a really simple idea. I was in technology sales for 17 years, and I became very good at using LinkedIn to find clients. And my colleagues would frequently ask me, hey, how'd you get into that big deal? And I would tell them I used LinkedIn. They go, will you show me how? It got to the point where enough people started asking me that I said, I really should start charging money for this. And that was the birth of Mike Shelah Consulting.
Love it.
It's been fantastic.
Love it. And so, as we were talking offline, Mike, you mentioned that the first thing that you tend to talk about whenever you're consulting is the optimization of your profile on LinkedIn. Can you talk to us about some specifics? What do folks need to be looking out for as they're trying to optimize their profile so that people viewing their profile actually want to talk to them?
Sure. And the first place to start is I get a lot of feedback from people that say, well, Mike, why should I hire you? I already have an all-star profile on LinkedIn. And there's a huge difference between having an all-star profile and an optimized profile. And quite candidly, it's easy to have an all-star profile. The requirements are very minimal. An optimized profile means that you have built it in such a way that the right people are finding you. I'll give you a great example. Salespeople, when you read most of their profiles read like they're looking for a job.
Yeah.
It tells you about how many times they've made President's Club and what percentage of quota they've been to year after year. Your customers don't care about that.
Yeah.
So you really have to frame the language around what your customer looks for. And I tell people, think about it like the game show, The Family Feud.
Yep.
Top 5 answers are on the board. Survey says. Well, that survey, they asked a bunch of people the same question. So you may be yelling your answer at the screen, and it's not up there. That doesn't mean your answer was a bad answer. It means your answer didn't match the people that they surveyed. So when you create your profile, you've really got to take a moment to sit in your customer's chair and say, if I were a customer and I were looking for me, what words might I use to find me?
Got it.
And you want to create a keyword list of about 20 words, and you're going to use and reuse those throughout your profile.
Okay. And so you're obviously, the headline being extremely important, the summary. Are there other areas that people should be looking to inject those keywords into? I'm
glad that you mentioned, because so often the person will put account executive, sales professional, major account manager. Again, they don't search for those words. You have 120 character spaces you can use in your headline. That is LinkedIn gold. It's the first thing your client sees when they pull up your profile, other than your picture, which is equally important. And what a lot of people don't realize now is that your profile has 2 pictures. You have the one that's traditionally of your face, your profile picture right in the center, and then you have your banner photo in the background.
Yeah.
A lot of people either don't have a banner photo or they've chosen a photo that really doesn't help. Like, it's not offensive, but it's not helping you either. If you look at my profile, mine's got my logo, my website, my email, and my phone number. Boom. You're interested in talking to me? It is very easy to communicate with me.
Yeah, got it. So putting those keywords in your headline, knowing that when people search for those, you're obviously trying to optimize to pull up in search results. What are some other things to keep in mind, Mike, as folks are trying to optimize their profile?
The biggest thing is full and complete. The more sections of your profile that you have filled out, the higher you move up LinkedIn's search rankings. Okay. LinkedIn works like a search engine. It works just like Google. The better optimize your profile, the higher you will show up in search rankings.
Got it. All right. So once somebody has their profile optimized, next we're going to talk about what you call connect and cultivate. Can you explain this for us?
Sure. There's something magical about getting over 500 connections on LinkedIn. When you do that, it lets the LinkedIn know that you're serious about developing a profile. And as a result, you start to attract more connections. That's really what you want, particularly the right kind of connections. Mm-hmm. You need to do your part. So I have this session I do called the ABCs of LinkedIn. And my first ABC is always be connecting. Mm. You want to think of friends. You want to connect to family, coworkers, people you used to work with, people you went to school with. And I mean all the way back to high school. I have several connections on LinkedIn that I haven't seen them face to face since I graduated from high school in 1990. But you got to think of that frame. Always be connecting.
There's a lot of folks I've met. I'm thinking of one man in particular that's very particular about only connecting with people that he has met in person at one point in his life. And he's very guarded with who he connects with.
Yeah.
Do you see a lot of people kind of having that mentality? Is that a good mentality to have? Should people be thinking about it differently? What are your thoughts there?
I don't disagree with him. If you think about the list that I just ran through, friends, family, coworkers, previous employers, people you went to school with, these are all people you've known, all the people that you've met. I'm not what's called a lion, a LinkedIn open network. I don't just accept connection requests from anyone.
Okay.
And when I get a request of somebody that I don't know, I use the respond option on LinkedIn to say to them, hey, I don't think we've met before. What about my profile? Interested you in connecting with me?
Mm. And do you get a lot of engagement with those messages?
About 90% of them never respond, so I don't bother accepting the connection request. I give them 3 business days to respond, and they don't get delete it.
Got it. Okay. And so what you're doing there is, cultivating a network of people that trust you. I'm assuming is that the kind of the thought process behind your methodology?
Yeah, you want to have people that are engaged. There are people out there that are just simply padding their numbers. I've yet to figure out why they think that's valuable, but
yeah,
they're padding their numbers. And the big thing that I hear from a lot of people is, Mike, I've got 1,000 connections on LinkedIn, or 2,000 or 3,000 or whatever their number is. Now what do I do with them? And that's where the Cultivate comes in.
Okay.
And LinkedIn makes it really easy to cultivate your network. Every day in your notifications button, it tells you who's having a birthday, who has a job anniversary, who has a new job, who posted something and tagged you in it, commented on your post. Those are all engagement opportunities. And at the bare minimum, once a year, you can touch everybody in your network with one of those 5 criteria. And many of them you're going to touch 3 or 4 times.
Got it. Okay, so now you've connected, you're cultivating that network. This next piece of the equation is borrowing and leveraging trust. Talk to us about this one, Mike.
Here's the biggest challenge facing salespeople. I don't know about you, but when I was a young boy, my first sales job, I did a ton of cold calling. I would use a Dun & Bradstreet list, and I would just pick up the phone and dial for dollars. And I was really good at that. And somewhere around 2007, that stopped working. And the main reason it stopped working is because the decision makers don't have to answer anymore. Between caller ID and voicemail, they never have to listen to your message. So unless you're just one charming son of a gun, they're not going to listen to your voicemail and call you back. Where LinkedIn becomes incredibly powerful is the second degree connection. So if I look at your profile on LinkedIn, I'm sure I'll find somebody that could be a valuable connection to me. And then when I identify that person, I share their profile to you and say, hey, James, I noticed that you're connected to Bob. Would you mind introducing me? I've had great success working with people like him in the past, and I'd love to buy him a cup of coffee. Now, one of three things is going to happen with that. You're either going to say to me, you know what, Mike, I really don't know Bob all that well. We connected on LinkedIn a couple of years ago, and I don't even remember why. And my response to that is always, well, anyway, you know him better than I do. And then you get that next tier where they go, well, yeah, I kind of know Bob. We met at a cocktail party a few months ago, and yeah, sure, I can make that introduction to you. But the one that I'm looking for is, again, LinkedIn Gold. When I reach out and you say to me, do I know Bob? He's the best man in my wedding. He was my roommate in college. He was my childhood best friend. Because then if I've done a good job of creating a relationship with you and I ask you to introduce me to Bob, I'm guaranteed a meeting.
But I like that you put the emphasis there, Mike, on if you've done a good job nurturing a relationship with him. And I think so many people, it doesn't happen very, very often to me. I don't get a lot of people asking me to make connections for them, but I have had it happen in the past where someone's asking for an introduction and they really have done nothing to nurture a relationship with me. And so it's just extremely off-putting. So I love that you make that caveat and put the emphasis on, first you have to connect and cultivate, which ultimately nurture your relationships in a genuine way, so that you then have the right to, or have a much better likelihood of having someone actually want to introduce you to somebody.
I was working with a client last week. He hired me to do some one-on-one LinkedIn coaching with him. And I give all my people homework assignments. And I say, I'm going to follow up with you in a week. And I reached out to him. And I said, hey, Ben, how's it going? And he ran down the list of things that he had done. And he said, I got 2 appointments last week using the methods that you showed me how to use.
Love it.
That's super gratifying when somebody could turn around results in less than a week from working with me.
I love it. This is fantastic, Mike. If there's somebody that wants to go deeper on these ideas with you, they want to learn more about the consulting work you do, or they just want to stay connected with you, what's the best way for them to go about doing that?
Well, once you know how to spell my name, Shelah, I'm very easy to find. I like to say I'm very Googleable.
Okay.
So naturally, you can connect with me on LinkedIn. Just mention that they heard me on your show. They can also connect with me on Twitter, on Instagram. Both are at Mike Shelah. And you'll find my Mike Shelah Consulting Facebook page.
Love it. Wonderful, Mike. Well, thank you so much for your time today. This has been fantastic, so I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on. This has been fun.
If you've been getting value from this podcast, you can help us reach more people by reviewing the show on iTunes. Here's how you can leave a review in less than a minute. Open your podcast app and tap the search icon in the bottom right corner. Type in B2B Growth, then select our show. Once you're there, tap the Reviews tab and tell us what you think of the show. These reviews help us out a ton.
Thank you so much for listening. Until next time.